I'm Adrian, the cruise and travel guy, and I've just returned from my first ever Disney cruise, and boy do I have some thoughts to share. It was one of the most unique cruises I've ever done. Some things were amazing and other things strange. But being that this is the cruise line's second ever Australian season, I had to get on board to let you know what it's like and whether it's worth the cost. My cruise was on board Disney Wonder, the second ship to ever sail for Disney Cruise Line. She launched in 1999, the same year I enjoyed my first cruise as an 11-year-old on a ship that was about as far from a Disney cruise as you can imagine. Considering that she's a quarter of a century old, I can only commend Disney on the state of Disney Wonder. She's been perfectly maintained, beautifully updated in places, and looks nothing like you might imagine a ship of 25 years to look. It's hard not to be taken by her elegant, sleek profile. She looks almost like an ocean liner with her elongated bow, black hull, and twin funnel design. The Disney experience begins at home, when travelers receive a pack with their details. A printed card includes your reservation information and luggage tags. It's a nice touch, but maybe a little over the top to FedEx something I can print at home. During the check-in process online, travelers need to pick a check-in window. We managed to grab 11:30 to 11:45, which was the first slot available. At the port, these times were being enforced with queues set up for respective windows, and eager travelers were turned away if they were too early. We boarded directly into the lower level of the ship's atrium, where one of the Disney crew, or cast members as they're known, announces your name over the PA system to cheers. Mickey was dutifully on the staircase, greeting arrivals, and was kind enough to allow a quick selfie. Typically, cabins are not available until around 1 p.m, but our cruise actually began after 2 days of the ship being in Sydney with no guests on board, so we went directly to it. This was the first time I had ever booked an inside cabin, and the reason, as you might imagine, was the cost. Being a 2-night cruise, I really couldn't justify what they were asking for a balcony or even an ocean view cabin at the time that I booked. I have a full tour of the cabin on my channel and I've linked to it in the description, but it was a comfortable place to stay for 2 nights. The mattress was on the softer side, which was nice, and I enjoyed the separate sitting area. The bathroom was also a decent size, though the door opening inwards made it a bit of a mission to exit back into the cabin. Unless there was a really compelling price difference, I don't think I would choose an inside cabin again. I found that overall I really missed having a point of reference to the outdoors, either through a balcony or a window, even just to see what the weather was doing, and I definitely missed having natural light. For 2 nights it was fine, but I don't think I would do it again. Excluding these standard inside cabins, which is what I had, other accommodation on board offers a split bathroom design. One room houses a toilet and basin, and the other room houses a shower and another basin, so it makes it really easy for families to get ready, or even groups of friends traveling together. It didn't take us long to head out and start exploring Disney Wonder. I really loved this ship for a number of reasons. Firstly, she's quite stunning. She has lots of deck space, and her size, she's around 85,000 gross tons, is basically small by today's standards. In fact, when Disney Adventure launches at the end of 2025, she'll be 2.5 times the size of Wonder. On her uppermost decks, you'll find 3 distinct pool zones and 1 sports court. These 4 spaces basically form the backbone of the ship's outdoor activities. Aqualab is the aftmost pool and is designed for the smaller kids on board. It's also located closest to the ship's buffet and other food outlets, making daytime meals a breeze. A water park kept little ones entertained for hours, and a slide catered for both kids and adults. The main midship pool is also where you'll find Disney's Funnel Vision, a giant movie screen that plays some of Disney's hits. During our cruise, Finding Nemo, Moana, Encanto, and Frozen were all played at various hours. This is also where the cruise line's famous deck parties are held, and I'll talk more about them soon. Up front, and my personal favorite, was Quiet Cove. This is one of multiple adult-only sections on board the ship, and was complete with a heated pool, hot tubs, a bar, and easy access to the ship's fitness center and spa. The forward sports court area had a range of games for kids and adults to play, plus a basketball hoop. There were also fantastic forward views over the ship's elegant bow. Ships of this era really do offer more opportunities to enjoy the outdoors and see views, and Disney Wonder is one of the best. On the lower decks, the main atrium spans decks 3, 4, and 5, and this is pretty much where you'll go to when it comes time to have dinner, or go to a bar or see a show. It really is connected to the rest of the ship. It's also where you'll find guest services and the shore excursions desk. I was really impressed with the design on board. I had imagined that it might look a bit kitschy, but in person it all really worked to create that Disney ambience that you would probably experience at one of the company's theme parks. I especially liked the French Quarter Lounge with its New Orleans-inspired styling, elegant cafe and bar, and the outward views from the ship's large porthole windows. Children are obviously well catered for on board. Disney Cruise Line offers 4 distinct kids clubs that covers ages between 6 months and 17 years. Each offers themed spaces, activities, and tech depending on the group. Being 2 adults, we did not get to sample the facilities, but I heard that they were very good. Out of any cruise line I've ever sailed on, Disney has to rank as one of the best when it comes to adults-only spaces. The outdoor Quiet Cove is brilliant, with its lounges, tables and chairs set across both shady and sunny spots. Plus, the Signals Bar and Cove Cafe are adjacent, and likewise for adult guests only. The crew in Quiet Cove were fantastic, even handing out complimentary treats throughout the day, like these strawberry and cream concoctions. After Hours occupies the forward section of Deck 3, becoming an adults-only space from around dinner time. Here you'll find the legendary Cadillac Bar and musical stylings of a vocalist and pianist. We had an amazing couple of hours here before dinner, listening to music and imbibing on a martini or two. It was open till about 12:30 AM. If you're after more casual surrounds, the Crown and Fin pub is going to be your go-to. This typical English pub is decorated with trinkets that add to the vibe, and this was open till about 1:30 AM. Azure Nightclub is the 3rd venue in After Hours. The space is really contemporary and edgy and offers a nightclub until around 12 midnight. There's also an adults-only specialty restaurant located up high on Deck 10 called Palo. It's an Italian restaurant and offers ocean views, with the cost to dine there being around $65 per person. We didn't have the chance to have dinner there during our short cruise. I was really surprised at how well Disney catered for adults. I would suggest that those of you traveling without kids like we did would potentially have a better time than those of you traveling with kids, and I'll explain more about that soon. One of the biggest reasons to head off on a Disney cruise is the opportunity to meet your favorite characters. This is a big part of every day on board, and it's about as well organized as you could hope. Characters has its own section in the Disney app, so you can easily bookmark your favorites and make sure you're there in time. On board, the crew really do their best to make sure that everyone knows how the system operates. Effectively, the queue for each character is open for 10 minutes, after which no additional passengers will be allowed to line up for that particular character. It all makes sense when explained, but I gotta tell ya, people were eager beavers. It was common to see queues forming at least an hour before the call time on the schedule. The ship's atrium was one of the main spaces where this took place. Personally, I'm not a die-hard Disney fan, although I think Frozen, Frozen 2 and Moana are possibly some of the best movies ever made. I digress. But even still, I was really excited to see the excitement on the faces of children that were getting the chance to meet their favorite characters in real life. Having said that, plenty of adults were clearly there without children and also making the most of the opportunity to meet their favorite characters, and they were very much enjoying that as well. We did get lucky during our sea day up to Brisbane though, spotting Pluto out on a stroll and snagging an impromptu photo with no queuing necessary. Pluto just happens to be Michael's favorite Disney character, so I think it was meant to be. It was also really common for parents to go and line up on behalf of their kids. One parent would stay in the queue and another one would go off with the children to keep them entertained and then come back when it was their time to be at the front of the queue. And it's worth noting that photo ops were limited to 2 snaps, obviously to keep the line moving. Disney operates rotational dining on all of its ships. That means that of the 3 main restaurants on board, all guests get an opportunity to try each one. Your only job is to choose either early or late dinner, which means picking between around 5:15 and 8:15. Disney then assigns your restaurant schedule and table number on your behalf, and that sticks with you for the duration of the cruise. You don't know what it will be until you get on board and connect to the Wi-Fi and open your app. Rotational dining means that your wait staff come with you and you will always have the same table number even in different restaurant venues. You'll also have the same table mates. For parents with younger kids, the early slot is the preference, but this books out well in advance. So if you're reserving your cruise closer to departure, it's safe to expect that late seating will be the only option remaining. When it comes to sharing a table, Disney does a really good job of pairing like groups. We were 2 adults traveling without kids, and we were paired with another group of 2 that were also traveling without kids. I also spoke with a lovely lady over breakfast one morning who was traveling alone with her 4-year-old daughter, and she told me that she was seated at a table for dinner with 2 other solo parents and their children. So it seems like Disney does its best to put like people together. The 3 restaurants are Animator's Palette, Tiana's Place, and Triton's. Each is themed accordingly. Animator's Palette is where we dined first. All guests are given a sheet of paper and a marker to draw in their character and name. Later during dinner, your drawings come alive on the screen surrounding the tables. It is really a fun and impressive show, and even us adults got into it. Thankfully, I'm much better at making cruise reviews than I am at drawing. I don't even know what this hideous beast is meant to be. Tiana's Place is inspired by the Disney movie The Princess and the Frog. Tiana herself sings and entertains the crowd with a band, and the New Orleans style is featured the entire time. Dinner here was on our second and final night on board and culminated with this parade of both crew, entertainers, and passengers. We even got a chance to take a quick selfie with Tiana. We didn't dine at Triton's for dinner, but did have breakfast there. I've been told it's the most basic of the restaurants, with the general design focused on the underwater kingdom of the Little Mermaid. I went in with no preconceived notions about what the food would be like on board, but I have to say that overall I was not impressed. Nothing was terrible, but nothing was a standout either, especially when you factor in how much people are paying to get on board. I think the food skews towards family friendly, which I would totally expect, but that might come at the cost of flavor. Others we spoke to had similar thoughts, but I do need to note that our cruise was only 2 nights, and I admit that's not quite long enough to get the full picture. On deck, pizza by the slice was decent, but doesn't hold a candle to Princess's offering. It was good for a quick snack. There were also gyros, or gyros depending on your origins, with the choice of beef and lamb or chicken and a number of toppings and sauces to choose from. Boiler's Bites offered casual burgers, hot dogs, and chips. Daisy's Delights offered healthier options like salads, sandwiches, wraps, and even customizable bowls. You could pick from various toppings and the lovely crew would finish it with your choices. Along the outer deck, soft-serve ice cream was always popular, especially with the kids. They also enjoyed the self-serve post-mix soda machines. I don't know if unlimited access to sugar is a fantastic choice in the already overwhelmingly exciting environment that is a Disney cruise, but when in Rome, and all of that is included in the fare. The ship's buffet is called Cabanas, and it's your typical smorgasbord setup. It has 2 sides that replicate the same food offering. We tried it for lunch during our one day at sea and arrived at 12 p.m. to a surprisingly quiet restaurant. There was a good variety of options, including a Mexican corner, but also food that would be suitable for both adults and kids. There were also plenty of desserts on offer. Right out back, there's an outdoor seating section as well. It's not a big space, and by about 12:30 it had turned into chaos and we quickly escaped. Disney's entertainment schedule is quite packed, and I have to say that these were some of the best attended events I've ever seen on any cruise line, ever. Starting with the deck parties, Sail Away was epic, overwhelming, and crazy. I don't know who enjoyed it more, the Disney-loving adults or the kids. Packed is an understatement, as I would guess most of the roughly 2,500 cruisers on board did their best to jostle for a vantage point. The characters were the focal point of the show, performing on top of the midship pool, which actually turned into a stage. Marvel Heroes Unite was scheduled for the final night of our cruise. This is one of Disney's famous deck parties, but due to the rolling seas, it was replaced with Pirate Night. It all began at 10:30 p.m. and again, I was floored at just how busy the decks were. People lined the railings to get a view of the action. Bandanas were also provided for every guest, left at the cabins during turndown in time for people to grab after dinner. Pirate Night was definitely fun, and of course it culminated with Mickey saving everyone. The cruise line famously features fireworks on every sailing when weather permits. They form part of the Marvel Heroes Unite and Pirate Night shows, but unfortunately due to the previously mentioned seas, they were cancelled. I think the deck parties are interesting because they're not really parties, they're more shows. People just kind of stand there watching. At one part of the pirate show, Bon Jovi's Living on a Prayer was playing, and I really did expect that everyone would start screaming, "Oh, living on a prayer," as everyone does when that song comes on, and not one person did. I started and then I stopped because it was weird. But that's when I realized it wasn't so much a party as it was a show. But one thing I'm really glad we got to see was the stage show Frozen. Disney actually put on 3 showtimes during our one day at sea. 11 a.m. for everyone, 2 p.m. for guests with the early seating dinner, and then 6 p.m. for guests with late seating dinner. We went to the 6 p.m. show and arrived about half an hour early, expecting a queue, but there really wasn't one. I think the 11 a.m. showtime took the pressure off. Doors opened about 20 minutes before showtime, and we grabbed some popcorn from Preludes for $5.50 US. It was very good though. Filming and photography is not allowed, but gee, the show was amazing. The way they've brought this movie to life on the stage is incredible. The cast and actors were also amazing. The voices were great. It really did echo the voices you're used to from the movie. It was brilliant. If you ever get the chance to watch Frozen on a Disney cruise ship or even on land, go watch it. Throughout the day, there were also family dance parties designed for parents and kids to enjoy together, plus more adult events like trivia and bingo. Typical things you'd expect on any cruise, but always with a Disney twist. As Disney Wonder doesn't feature any theme park style rides, it's really all about the entertainment on board and characters. The crew are amazing. We had fantastic interactions with everyone we met, from our room steward to the wait staff to the bar crew. Everyone was impeccable. I have no notes. Disney offers an app that really forms the foundation of your cruise. Honestly, you don't have much of a choice because everything is covered in the app. It's not a bad little thing. You can easily see what's on during the day and bookmark events you want to attend. The app then sends you a reminder before the start time so you don't miss what you've planned to see. It really functions more as a scheduler so that you can stay on top of your day, but it does also allow you to chat with guests you're traveling with, and guest services can even send you notifications through the app as well. The app and chat feature are free to use, but internet costs extra. I was slugged with a $76 US fee to connect to the internet on the fastest available speeds here for our 2-day cruise. That converted to about 113 Australian dollars, and even though it was on Starlink's top tier speed thing, honestly, it wasn't worth it. It wasn't great, and I think it was very much an overpriced service. Value is such a subjective topic, so it's hard to definitively say where the value lies. For me, I've been watching keenly since Disney announced that they were coming to Australia, and especially through the chaos and commotion of their initial sales launch. Pricing was and remains somewhat atmospheric, especially compared to their regular family cruise line competitors. We paid roughly 1,200 Australian dollars for 2 nights in the cheapest cabin available, a Category 11 guaranteed standard inside. About a week before departure, there was still availability in each category, with Australian dollar pricing for 2 passengers from $1,193 for an interior, $1,832 for an ocean view, $2,315 for a balcony, and $3,319 for a concierge class stateroom. That comes with extra perks such as an exclusive lounge and deck and priority access. Another 2-night cruise in January has pricing in Australian dollars for 2 passengers starting at $2,074 for an inside cabin, $2,353 for an ocean view, $2,727 for a balcony, and $5,166 for a concierge grade cabin. The January cruise has the benefit of starting and ending in Sydney, whereas ours finished in Brisbane, so we had the additional cost of having to fly back home. As a point of comparison, I cruised in September for 2 nights on board Diamond Princess between Sydney and Melbourne. We stayed in a spacious mini suite with a balcony. We had unlimited internet included for both of us, as well as a premium drinks package, and we paid $1,156. But Princess is not Disney, and how can I tell you that value is just about the dollar that you pay? I saw the smiles on those kids' faces and the big kids' faces, and how do you put a price on that? I'm pretty sure that is priceless, and therefore Disney can work on that and use that to continue to charge high prices because it is such a unique experience. They really do have a captive audience. You're either into it or you're not, I guess. It's also important to note that all onboard charges are US dollars, so for those of us that are traveling with Australian dollar pockets, it means that everything is much more expensive than what you see listed in a menu. And your standard fare basically covers you for all of your main meals and basic drinks, including those post-mix soft drink machines and juices and things like that. But don't expect any bottled water or any alcoholic beverages. There are no drinks packages available that would cover premium drinks on a Disney cruise. Disney Cruise Line can technically be for anyone. I don't think it is, but it could be. As a self-confessed non-Disney fanatic, I really did enjoy certain aspects of the cruise experience. The adults-only zones indoors and out were some of the best I've experienced on any cruise line, which makes Disney a tempting proposition for adults that don't really care about the Disney effect. For families or parents traveling with children, I say prepare to be exhausted. I've never seen so many tired-looking parents and grandparents all in the one place in my life. Kids hopped up on Disney adrenaline and unlimited sugar sure look like a handful. But I know for many families, this cruise was something they'd been looking forward to for a long time. And although tired, I'm sure parents were also very happy and in need of another holiday. And on the other hand, if you are a family that prefers a more relaxed cruise or holiday environment, I wouldn't suggest a Disney cruise. Although the ship has many adults-only venues, you really won't be able to use them, and frankly, that's why they were so good during our cruise. They were mostly empty because the majority of other adults were stuck with their kids by the pool and enjoying that time while we got to take advantage of the empty adults-only spaces. So maybe it is really good for adults traveling without kids. If you're a Disney fanatic, you will love it. The ship, the branding, the characters, the experience, everything has been designed so well in that Disney way that is almost intangible. The whole ambience and experience is exactly what I would expect of something so heavily and well branded. I can't see myself opting into another Disney cruise, but that's not to say the cruise line doesn't know what it's doing. If you're into it, you will have an awesome time. It really is an excellent cruise product with very well designed cabins, amazing service, and really good entertainment, as well as the ship being just stunningly beautiful. For everyone else though, maybe save the money and cruise elsewhere. That's it for this review. I hope you enjoyed it. It's quite in depth, but let me know what your comments and feedback are. Let me know below. If you haven't seen my room tour, you can watch that as well. I've linked to it in the description. If you want to book a cruise, whether that's on Disney or any other cruise line, you can head to my website, thecruiseandtravelguide.com.au. That's the best way to support my channel and my work, so thank you very much if you have. And you can also follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The Cruise and Travel Guide to stay up to date with my travels as they happen. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you soon.